Right, as I said, my name is Geraldine Fushardi. Welcome onto the call for today. I'm here to talk to you about the power of three and how that can help you build your businesses, whether you're a small startup, you're an entrepreneur with a good idea to get going, or you actually want to start growing your business to the next level. You really want to increase your sales. So before we get into the details of that, I'd just like to give you a bit of background on myself. I have over 25 years of experience in sales and marketing. I've worked with a large number of companies in Ireland, the UK, across Northern Europe, in the US, and also very briefly in Australia. And over the last 5 years in particular, I've worked with a lot of startups and early stage companies, coaching them through growth strategies and also just how to start up in some cases and getting that all important entrepreneurial mindset. When I first started my career, the very first sale that I did was for £50,000 and it was absolutely awesome. It felt fantastic doing that. And then I grew a few years later, a couple of years later, I was doing deals for about £500,000 and the largest deal I did then was for about €10.5 million. And that was absolutely brilliant, but you always remember your first deal. How did you get started? What were the all important things that you did? By way of background, I do have a degree in business and computers. I have an MBA in work. And because of all the work that I've done in sales over the years, I'm also a fellow of the Sales Institute of Ireland. So that's me, and that's why I'm here today talking to you about business and how you can grow your businesses. I do a number of services under my Performa brand. I do the Business Builder Bootcamp, and in the next few days we'll be closing registration for October, and I'll be getting started next week with a number of individuals doing that. And I also offer services around one-page business plans, business startup resource guide, and things like that. I know that a number of you have taken the free 2-minute quiz to reveal if you have the right skills or attitude, circumstances to be successful at self-employment. And a number of these services I offer for free, but obviously there's a number of them that I'm selling also. I'm also putting together a very advanced business builder bootcamp to take people through some of the more advanced strategies that they need to grow their business. So you can watch out for that in the coming days and weeks. So what I wanted to talk about today was the power of three. Three things that you need to focus on for business success. 3 tools that can help you take your business to another level. And 3 traps to avoid when building your business. Now, 3 is a pretty magical number. It's a very important number when you're building your business and also when you're selling. Because typically when you're talking to people, 3 things is all they can remember. That's what they understand. That's what they know. That's what they'll take away from your meetings. It's what they'll take away from your website. It's what they'll take away from your literature. It's what they'll take away from conversations. So I'm pushing it a wee bit here and hoping that you can remember 3 things in a number of different areas. But basically today we're going to talk then about the power of 3. The 3 things you need, first of all, to focus on for business success. And the first of those that I'd like to talk to you about is actually focusing on yourself. What's really important when you're setting up a business are a number of skills that you have yourself, business building skills. And you need to work hard to make sure you've got the right business building skills. And these are skills such as time management skills. You know, do you organize your days well? Do you manage the different time buckets that you've got? Are you good at scheduling like that? And that's really important for using your time wisely when you're building a business. Then there's the people skills. Extremely important when you're building a business. You have to be able to communicate with people. You have to be able to talk. You have to be able to engage with them. Then there's obviously negotiation skills. What are you doing then to actually close the business? How do you go about doing that? General communication skills, financial skills, of course, very important as well, but also those all-important sectoral skills. Depending on what business you're going into, you're going to need to have certain skills to be able to do that well, to be seen as the expert, to be seen as the person that really knows what they're doing. So that's some of the basic skills that you need to be getting yourself when you're starting to build a business. Then there's other things. You really want to be entering into a business that you have a passion for doing, because you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times, and you really want to get something that you're very passionate about, that will help you see you through those good times, those bad times. And you want then to start to put together coping mechanisms. Where your skills perhaps aren't as good as you would like them to be, what are you going to do to address that? What are the coping mechanisms that you can put in place? Coping mechanisms might be like if you have poor financial skills, maybe you hire a bookkeeper to do a few hours each month for you. If you're not very good at organising yourself, you actually sit down for 5 minutes every late afternoon and you put together your to-do list for the next day. You perhaps get yourself a coach and you have weekly or monthly conversations with a business coach. So some of the actions that I would want you to take away from this are think about assessing yourself first of all so you understand where your skills, your strengths and your weaknesses are. I put a simple tool up there that I know a number of you use, my self-employment quiz. Take another look at that on the performance site and do that. That helps you take a look at what you need. And once you've assessed all of this yourself in all of those skill areas, see what you need to do to build those skills up, to get those coping mechanisms that I talked about, or to find yourself a mentor or coach that can help work you through this business. The second focus that you need to have then is on the customer. On the customer. You need to make sure that you are focused and you do a lot of research all the time on your customers and you talk to them on a regular basis. This is really important, particularly when you're starting up. This is what separates the men from the boys or the women from the girls. If you're too scared to go out and talk to your customers now, how on earth are you going to do that when you get set up in business? So you need to understand what your customers want, make lists of potential customers, work out about defining who your ideal customer is. How do they find their current suppliers? What do they expect to pay for the product or service you're trying to sell them? What are they really highly value? And what are they looking for? What can you possibly offer that's going to be good for them that they will really want? So your action plans there around customers are the all-important critical research plan. You need to do some really important primary and secondary research on your customers. You really need to talk to them. Either get face-to-face, talk to them on the phone, do some online surveys. And once you have those conversations and research, you can start to define your ideal customer. And that's even a very important step if you're already set up in business. Who is your ideal customer? Who are the best ones that you make the most amount of money from, that are the least amount of hassle? You really need to understand their characteristics because you want more of that type of customer. So you have to focus on the customer all the time. The third thing you need to focus on quite quickly are your competitors. You can never afford to ignore your competitors. So you need to be making lists of who they are, the direct competitors that you have, the ones that might go about stealing your business, ones that you want to steal business from too. And then you want to take a look at analysing their products and services. What's good about them? What's bad about them? What do they charge for these products and services? And then you want to start taking a look at their strengths and weaknesses. So the action plans that I would put there, first of all, make your list of your competitors. Get on the internet. Talk to your customers. Research. Take a look in local newspapers. If it's a local business you're running, check Yale.com. Take a look at all the places where people might find somebody to provide your services and get your list together. Then research them. Often their websites will give you a fair bit of information, their Facebook pages, their LinkedIn, whatever is relevant, and put together their strengths and weaknesses. And once you've done that, then you can start to look at what's your unique selling point. What are you going to do better than them? How are you going to persuade people to do business with you rather than your competitors? So that's the third important area you have to focus on. And this is whether you're just starting up or whether you're down the line and you're looking to get to the next stage. And particularly if you are already established in a business, you want to think about then who the competitors are that you want to be competing against in the future. Maybe you're not competing against them now, but you want to move into new areas. You want to sell different types of products or services into new geographies. So you need to expand your list and keep researching. And also keep an eye on, are they bringing out new services, changing their pricing models, that type of thing. So it's something you want to do pretty regularly, to keep an eye on your competitors. So there are the three things that you really need to focus on. Focus on yourself and your skills and your emotional stability to be able to cope with the ups and downs. Focus on your customers. Focus on your competitors. So let's talk now about a few tools that can help you in your business, whether you're starting up or whether you're established. Now, the first tool that I always recommend to customers that I'm coaching or working with is to actually take a look at putting a customer relationship management tool in place. Because as you start to build up your customers, You want to track what you're saying to them. You want to track what they're buying from you. You want to track events that they come to, webinars that they attend, bits of literature that you've sent to them, conversations and meetings that you may have had with them. And as you grow, you need to track that across more and more customers. And you really need to understand your customers. So you can't just be scribbling this down on bits of paper or trying to do it on a spreadsheet. There are loads of really great tools out there that can help you with this. And the tool that I've used quite a lot of these customer relationship management tools, some good, some bad, but the one that I've been using for the last 3 years and I would highly recommend is a tool called Really Simple Systems. And it actually lives up to its name. It's one of the simplest tools that I have ever tried to use in this area. And it's great for tracking this. It can send you reminders when you need to be making phone calls or having meetings or sending pieces of literature out. So it's really excellent for that tool. And it's also got a great trial feature, and it allows you to have a free version for up to your first 100 customers. You can use it for free. And even when you start paying for it, it's one of the cheapest systems around. So I would highly recommend you take a look at this from quite early on. Really Simple Systems. So that's my first tool recommendation. My second tool recommendation is SurveyMonkey. If you ever come in any one of my business builder programs, you'll find that I talk an awful lot about research. I'm constantly on about doing good research, good primary research, good secondary research. So I'm always encouraging people to keep researching, to keep understanding what the customers want. And one of the great wee online tools out there to do that is SurveyMonkey. Very simple to put together, 6 questions, 10 questions, whatever, for your customers, for your prospects. Easy to send it out. You can do it face-to-face with them. You can send them links by email. You can put it up on Facebook. You can use it through LinkedIn. So it's very easy to get all of that put out, and it's very easy to set up. SurveyMonkey also have a free version that you can use for a limited number of people you're talking to, and also for a limited number of questions. I think it's up to 10 questions you can use for free. So SurveyMonkey, great wee tool. If you haven't started using any online tools for surveys, this is the one I would recommend. And the third tool that I would recommend are for all of you that are actually trying to sell online. Lead pages are one of those brilliant new pieces of software in the last few years that are very easy to set up what's called landing pages on your website. Now, these are pages where you find information about events and you find information about services, and typically to get perhaps a wee bit more details, you might put your details, your email, your name, your country that you're from, and the tool captures that and then it sends you the information automatically. Now, all of you to actually be in this webinar today would have been on one of my lead pages. You perhaps were in the lead page for the webinar. Maybe before that you were on one of my lead pages for my one-page business plan. Perhaps you're on a lead page for the self-employment survey. Really simple to set up. Once you get used to them, you can set these up within a few minutes. And off you go. You can start sending them out to your customers and adding them to your website. So lead pages, they offer a free trial for a couple of weeks. After that, the prices vary, but this is a tool that is excellent if you're looking to sell online. And to get going, all you need is a very simple website and domain to link it to. Now, I talked about 3 tools I would recommend. I'm going to throw a bonus one in. That is it's a great wee tool that I find I use very, very frequently when I'm putting together emails or documents, reports. And it's a little tool from a company called MCH. I think they're a New Zealand-based company. And they've got this great wee tool called Fastbox that you can download onto your computer. It only costs a few pounds. Once you bought it, you bought it. And it's called a TextExpander. And basically what it allows you to do is to set up all of these short codes to expand them. When you put in a short code into say, a Word document or a PowerPoint or an email or onto a web link or whatever, it will expand out very rapidly to the whole sentence or paragraph or several paragraphs worth of text that you have previously stored. And it's a very fast way if you're actually sometimes repeating yourself in certain types of emails you send out or communications. It's a great way of sort of speeding up what you're doing online. So the little tool, that's my bonus recommendation for today. Great wee tool, take a look at it. It's called FastFox from a company called MCH Software. So there are my 3 tool recommendations for early start companies or for companies that have been just getting off the ground. Now, what I wanted to talk about are the 3 traps that I find that a lot of early stage businesses or startup companies can fall into. The first of those traps is called the perfect plan. And I have talked to more startups and more entrepreneurs, and they spend ages trying to get their perfect plan together. They maybe spend months putting this together, and in the meantime, they're missing great opportunities to get out there and start getting their business up and going. I would always say to these companies, you don't try for the perfect plan. You don't need a 40-page plan or a 20-page plan. I suggest that the vast majority of companies getting going today, you can put together your 1-page plan and get moving. Then you learn while you're doing. You learn while you're executing. You review what you're doing. You correct the mistakes. You put together another plan and off you get going. But don't wait around for a long time to get this perfect plan. Life's never perfect. Business never works out exactly the way you want it to work out. The perfect plan is not going to happen the way you need it to happen. So don't wait around to do it. If you haven't already downloaded it, take a look at my website and get access to the 1-page business plan that I give out for free. And that's the plan you should be putting together and getting going within your business. So don't hang around to do your perfect plan. That's the first trap for all entrepreneurs. The second trap might be a wee bit more controversial I'm going to talk about. The second thing I'm going to talk about is word of mouth. And I feel like particularly over the last year and a half, every company and every entrepreneur that I have coached in setting up a business talks to me about how they're going to build their business through word of mouth. Word of mouth is the best way. It's best to get the referrals. I'm going to do it through word of mouth. And Joe Blogs down the road, that's how he built his business. Word of mouth, word of mouth. And I listened to this and I nod and I said, that's excellent. That's brilliant. If you can do that, that's absolutely wonderful. But word of mouth isn't what it used to be. Word of mouth has now gone online. Word of mouth is on Facebook. Word of mouth is on TripAdvisor. Word of mouth is in comments on LinkedIn. That's where your word of mouth is. It's not sort of talking to people and that face-to-face relationship. While that's still very important, you cannot rely on word of mouth to build your business in that old-fashioned way. The other thing I would say to people about the word of mouth trap is that quite often the people in your business that you have spoken to that built their business through word of mouth, when you explore a wee bit further what they mean by word of mouth, what they really mean was that they perhaps didn't pay for advertising in local papers, or they didn't pay for advertising perhaps in Google. But what they did do was they networked like crazy. They're in the local Chamber of Commerce. They're on all of these online groups. They're forever sponsoring local businesses. They're sponsoring local events. So they're actually doing loads and loads of other things to build their business, and they're not just doing this word of mouth. And also, quite often when you've spoken to them, they've been in business for maybe 10 years, 15 years, 25 years. And so, yes, they have established a reputation and people do know about them now, and they have enough customers that their customers are recommending them to other people. And that's brilliant when you get to that stage. But when you're in the startup world, you're not there and you can't rely on it. So by all means, it's important to get good customer referrals. That's absolutely bread and butter in this business, but you cannot rely solely on word of mouth to build your business. Not the old-fashioned way. That type of word of mouth is dead. The final trap that I talk to a lot of my companies about and that I'm coaching is the trap that you talk about for the rush to recruit. You're getting your business going and you need a partner. You're getting your business going, you need a couple of employees. You need to bring people on board. And you're busy. You've got lots of things to do. Setting up a business takes a lot of time and effort. And there's always that rush to recruit. And suddenly you meet somebody, or it's your best friend, brother, and the next thing, let's get them into the business and let's get going. And quite often that rush to recruit makes you end up with the wrong people. And if you end up with the wrong people working for you or working with you, maybe as a co-founder, etc., then that actually can cause you more problems than it's worth. It can greatly hold you back in setting up your business. So I always would say to everybody, be very, very careful when you're recruiting. You can't afford to rush in. You need to look at it carefully. What are the key skills that you're looking for from people? What experience do you want them to have? What are you prepared to pay them for that you can afford to pay them and that you can continue to afford for a period of time? What do you expect with them in terms of the hours that they're going to work, the activities that they're going to do? You can't afford to rush this. You need to do it very, very carefully. Otherwise, that's one of the key ways you can bring your business crashing down, by putting the wrong people in place around you. All of the best entrepreneurs and the start there will tell you how important it is to get the right people around you as you grow. So don't fall into this trap, this rush to recruit. Do it carefully, do it thoughtfully, get the right people in around you as you're building your business. So that's my power presentation. You can get lots more information about the business that I do, the services that I provide through my performance website. But what I'd like to do now is to open this up to ask questions now. So I'm going to open up and take everybody off mute, and if anybody wants to come up, please feel free to come in and ask some questions now. Get those down. No questions at this stage. Okay. In which case, I'd just say thank you very much for watching. If you think of any questions afterwards, my email address is gchardy@performance.com. I'll answer all questions very promptly. So don't be afraid to do that, and I look forward to hearing from everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.